I have somehow been in contact with certainly do not, number one, adopt the Islamic dress code. Now, are they going to be, my question is there a new effort in Islam that will eventually root out these people who have made it? I get some sense from some of the Islamic women in countries like Egypt who have been part of the structure that indeed they're threatened, their position is threatened by some of the new Muslim, draft.
Well, first of all, you might have certain experiences. I do have experiences also of Muslim women in Egypt and other places who are highly committed and highly qualified and very active, like Dr. Abdeen, for example, who's established a charitable hospital, and she's well-known physician and doctor, and she's very committed also to her faith. There are many articulate. The other thing about the dress code, I think it would be a mistake in my view to totally evaluate the commitment of the Muslim woman only in terms of the dress code. There is no question, if you look at it from the other side, that a Muslim woman who practices her faith was deeply committed, and in addition to that, she carried that also in terms of even her dress code. Obviously, she shows relatively more commitment. But it doesn't mean that others are to be weeded out or not to be considered committed. In my own experience traveling across the world in many places, I have met many Muslim sisters in one convention who are not in Islamic code. I come 2 years later, like Australia, I find them, they are in dress code. It means that the faith was there in their heart. The commitment was there, but maybe the pressures of the way they were raised, the society and where they were living. So I would not evaluate a Muslim woman entirely on one issue like dress.
Thank you. You forgive me. Okay, we'll move from Dr. Ivan to Dr. Musi.
I don't know what to say.
You can move to another point, by the way.
Well, basically, my point is,
and I'd like you to move to another point.
I'm comfortable about the fact that we seem to be setting ourselves up as Christians versus Muslims, and we're sitting there so we have to defend. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but it seems to me that there are some issues facing women, both Christian and Muslim, both here and overseas, and if we could talk about some way in which together we can work together to help with these problems, rather than sit here and defend. I mean, I'm not qualified to sit here and defend the faith according to the Baptists or some other very conservative Christian. What you have here is a group of very liberal Christians, and all of us sort of have a theology which is very open and accepting, and I don't want to be cast into a position where I have to sit and defend anything. And I find this sort of going on like a ping pong game, and I'm very uncomfortable with it. And I was wondering whether we can do something more positive, rather than sit here and try and defend. I don't know. What were you going to talk about?
Could we name some common issues? Ivan, could we name some common issues?
Well, come on. Why don't you come up with some issues that are common issues, rather than sort of... Yes.
I think part of the problem, and I know that for a fact for us Muslims, that we are the one that is always subject to the media and the stereotyping in the media. Whenever you hear about Muslims in the media or Muslim women, I can produce for you volumes upon volumes from newspapers that speak about women in the veil and how they are suppressed and how they are subjected and how they are abused and how they are taken in slavery. And so part of that, probably the sensitivity, I would say on my part as a Muslim, I don't speak for other Muslims, is the fact that what I see blasted in the media all the time about Islam and the deliberate, what I consider it as an intentional or unintentional, I don't know which one, campaign to smear the Muslims all the time politically, theologically, and socially. So do not be surprised that the Muslims are kind of like trying not only to explain their point of view, but also explain the inadequacies in the Christian faith also in regard to these issues.
Yeah, well, I thoroughly understand what you're saying. I mean, I agree with you. I go around always talking about the demonization of Islam, the kind of press that Islam has been having. On the other hand, I can quote you books
magazine articles which also talk about Christian women, about Christianity and the West in just as derogatory.
And the thing is that I think we have to get off this name calling. Yeah, I mean, I've got access to a lot of literature which talks about Christianity as horrible religion. I don't identify with any of the women that are depicted there as Christian women. I don't. I mean, I have no idea what they're talking about. I'm not a slut. I don't sleep with every man I find. And yet, all this literature talk about Christian women as being these loose women, and this is what Christianity has done, and the West is a corrupt society. And it seems to me that if we stand here and sort of defend these accusations, you're preaching to the converted. Look around. You know, is there some way we can move beyond, you know, you are like this, I am like that, no, we are better, you are good. This is all I want.
May I throw a common ground that we definitely share that may bring some different discussion. Let us agree to the reality that neither the West, nor the East, nor the Middle East is based on Islam or Christianity. It is all based on secularism. So I take no offense.
That helps a lot.
I take no offense if somebody says women in Egypt or anywhere else do this or don't do that. It doesn't really matter to me. But still, I believe that the format of discussion here was to clarify what the basic tenets and teachings of each religion say about women, about human rights, about the dealing of minorities. And I believe that from time to time you cannot escape the reality that you must live through as soon as you leave this hall. So people are between telling what they have learned from the book and talking about what they have to deal with in the street. We are caught in between. We are part and parcel of what is going on around us. So I believe that it should not take us long to identify with each other on what is common and what is different, but yet we should not be feeling any kind of bad feeling, let me say, if we discuss the realities as they are and try to judge those realities according to the teachings of Islam, Christianity, or any religion for that matter. I believe that the purpose of religious awareness is to bring God into not only the classroom, but every room that man goes to get in. So what I'm saying is, let us not say reality is irrelevant, and let us talk about books, and let us not say books are irrelevant, let us accept realities. We have to address both with a reasonable way.
Okay, with your
That's
permission.
fine, as long as we don't say Christian side,
yeah.
Muslim side. That's the part that's been getting I think we are in it together, and let's not put
Yeah.
each other against each other.
I think we have only 7 minutes left, so let us not talk about the philosophy of the dialogue itself. I think your point is well understood. Let us get into the points themselves and discuss one of them in the light of what you
Should I
said.
ask a question?
Why don't I
let them answer
Dr.
first?
Lewis talk first? Okay, go ahead.
To what question? I was really going to propose that we take it, since Ayesha and I have talked a lot about abuse, figure out which one of these, about abuse, perhaps abuse within families against women, as an issue that we're both concerned about. And one of the things that I think we could do is, taking that issue, ask what resources in both faiths do we have to stand against it. It's not, and I do think we also have practices which haven't been very good about standing against it. And that may be true in both, and I don't know that. My guess is we do have resources of both faiths to stand against abuse. And that maybe, is that the kind of thing you're talking about, Ivan? That we could then talk about what would be a shared...
You say, we say. No, we're not like this.
Yeah, that what we have is a shared commitment to stand against injustice of this ilk that would have tremendous potential, I think, probably in cultures around the world, which, if not shaped by us, are at least informed by us in some ways. Could we do that? Is that the kind of thing you're talking about?
This was me. If you were willing, I would love that.